It says on the program that I'm going to welcome you, so I welcome you. Good to have you all here, and I'm going to call upon the president of our alumni, Jim Carroll, to say a few words. Where'd he go?
Michael, he's on his way. Hang on a moment. Here it is now. Take care of business. Colonel. Perfect time.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, President Jordan, Brother Bill Brenda, Father DeForest, who I said was, I'm supposed to pronounce like Martin DeForest, Hall of Fame inductees, family and friends, and fellow alumni. On behalf of the Alumni Association and the Board of Directors, I'd like to thank you for your continued support of CBC. Before we go any further, I'd like to continue a tradition that my good friend started, Steve Ticklecheck, about 10 years ago. And I'm going to ask all the veterans to stand in order of service. So we'll start and ask everyone to honor their nation, their service to the nation. So we'll start with the senior service to the United States Army. So all you U.S. Army veterans, please stand. Give them a round of applause. And the Army is the senior service. Then there's the United States Marine Corps, which was started in the tavern, Tom's Tavern, in 1975. All you Del Dogs. We're still going in order, so we have to acknowledge the United States Navy. All you U.S. Navy veterans, and there's several here tonight. U.S. Navy veterans, please stand and acknowledge. Are there any Coast Guard veterans in the crowd? There we go. Semper Paratus. I only know that because I had to sing twice at Mass. Believe it or not. All right. And then the junior service, United States Air Force. All you U.S. Air Force veterans. Guys, thank you for your service to this nation. I believe it's also appropriate that we recognize the current members of the CBC Hall of Fame. So I'd like all the current members of the CBC Hall of Fame, please rise and let's give everybody a round of applause on that. Thank you. So just a little bit about the CBC Alumni Association. Basically, we provide a forum for the alums to continue to participate in the CBC community. The Alumni Association board is open to all alumni. We meet the first Monday of every month. Any alumni are welcome to join us for a meeting. We welcome your participation. We sponsor events throughout the year. The Alumni Weekend Golf Outing is going to be Sunday at Forest Park. There's still slots open. We obviously work with Joe and President Jordan on several of the events over this weekend. Mass on Sunday will be here in the chapel at 9 a.m. We do a trivia night in February. We are co-sponsors of Taste of CBC along with the Parents Club, which shows a great community with the CBC community, but it also allows our community to sample from alumni-owned restaurants. So it really highlights alumni-owned restaurants and what they do, and the proceeds of that go directly to CBC. They don't filter through any of the other organizations. I guess the point of all that is because of those activities that your Alumni Association does, we are very pleased to present a check to Michael Jordan, if we get the right pocket, for $5,000. So this is your Alumni Association. school from the Alumni Association every year. Most importantly, though, the Alumni Association is the sponsor of the Hall of Fame program. And I do want to talk about that for just a second. The CBC Hall of Fame inductees, they represent the men who have excelled while in school, in academics, athletics, or other activities through council, etc. And then the outstanding achievement in their chosen fields once they left the school. More importantly, though, in order to be inducted into the CBC Hall of Fame, they've demonstrated a continued loyalty and service to CBC. That's probably the most important part of our induction into the Hall of Fame. This evening's inductees, like all of our Hall of Fame members, represent the very best of the best. It truly shows that CBC fosters men for tomorrow, and that we are truly brothers for life. I want to thank you all for attending this evening, and I want to thank you for your continued support of CBC.
Thank you, Jim. We're going to ask the inductees to come forward. Your nameplates are up here. If you could take your seats. And while they're doing that, I'd like to ask all the individuals who work at CBC if they would please stand. Take a chance on $5,000 at the auction. The two ladies there at the last table on the right, there they are waving at you if you'd like to. What are they, 25? Yeah, $25. $25 a chance. So they're back there helping us out. Both of those are, what is it? Both mothers here, we really do appreciate it. They're both working on the auction, both chairs of the auction, working with Linda back there as well. Please, gentlemen, take your seats. I have the privilege of introducing each one of our inductees this evening, and if you are going along with your book, I'm starting in the back and working forward. Start with the young guys and working towards the class of 44 inductee up here, John. I'm not going to read all that. It's at your leisure. There's an awful lot of information in there, very important information about each one of our inductees. I will only highlight some of them, and I don't want to take away from the individuals who they are and what they've done for CBC in their own industry, their own profession, as well as with their family as well. So I will start with Chris there. So I'll do the introductions as such, and then I'll call you forward to make the presentation. Oh, and you get to say a few words if you'd like. Within a limit, of course. Oh, Margaret. Oh, 58. Wait till I get to you. But I have a book. So, Chris Belcher, our first inductee, class of 1989. Son of Bill and Linda. Bill, even though he did not stand, he spent 34 years here teaching math. Linda, I think you said you're younger than he is and a few days younger than I am. Oh, she says old. However, that's mom and dad. And you also have aunt and uncle over there, Bill and Linda, who are with us as well, and sister and brother-in-law, Karen. Well, good to have you here. Chris, get this, he's an actuarial science individual, a pension analyst. A long, long time, a lot of numbers, I would assume. So, a a very, very bright individual. You'll find out later on, I'm going to say, I believe, yes, we were salutatorian, which means second in his class. So we have two at the table here. If you figure out who the next one is as well. But he was salutatorian in his class, works at Ascension Health. You probably know that in the retirement services area. When he was here at CBC, he was very active in Sari players, which means Tom Murray had gets over here in the theater area. If you spend a number of years there, you can be asked to join the Sari players. And Chris is part of that National Honor Society. As I said, salutatorian, speak, theater award at graduation, and also, get this one, perfect attendance. That makes me friends with actuarial science as well. He has gone on to perfect the piano in organ. He is an organist at helping out with the parish of St. Angela Marisi. And he loves to travel. And I know you get away oftentimes with another former faculty over here who spent some time with Dennis Fleming, and some of you know him. Dennis was in the guidance office. In his own words, CBC is a very important part of my life. Before I ever walked through the doors as a student in the fall of 1985. Obviously, his dad was here for 34 years, so very integral part. My family has been very blessed to be part of the CBC community for so many years. I still practice many of the values I learned as a student. So Chris Belcher, class of 1989, if you would please come forward for your award. What each recipient will receive is a picture of St. John Baptist de La Salle, who was founded over 350 years ago in France of the Christian Brothers. He's a patron saint of all teachers, and it says his name around it. It says Christian Brothers College High School Alumni Hall of Fame, and on the front here, everybody will have their name and their class as well. So, Chris Belcher, our first inductee.
This is quite a surprise, actually, because I was not planning on being first. So it kind of ruins my comment of the time what's keeping us between the door and the end of time. So, but when Michael Jordan called me this summer to let me know that I had been inducted to the Hall of Fame, I was actually on vacation in Florida, and wasn't really not what I was expecting to hear when I had a message from Michael Jordan on the phone. And so when he congratulated me and said, congratulations, you've been inducted to the Hall of Fame, and I said, thanks. And after I got off the phone, the first thing that kind of came to my mind was, crap, now I'm going to have to give a speech. So, not something I've had to do in a long, long time. I talk in front of people a lot for my job, but having talked about myself and my own personal history is not something that I typically deal on. So I promise to hopefully keep this short and sweet. But as Michael said, CBC has always been a very important part of my life. My dad Bill taught here for 34 years, so I grew up at CBC. At the Clayton Road campus, we were always, he coached soccer, baseball, announced all the home basketball games, so we spent a lot of time on the weekends at CBC. I can still remember as a little child running up and down the stairs at the Concordia gym and during the basketball games before we had the gym at the Clayton campus. So I have a lot of memories from CBC beyond just being a student. One of the, I don't think there was ever a question in our house of where you're going to go to high school. It was always CBC. There was never really even a question that we were going to have to ask in our house. So it was always CBC has been a very important part of my life, and it's been very good to my family over the years. I'm very glad that I still, enjoy coming to CBC for a lot of the sporting events, the plays that I participated in high school, and still enjoy coming to CBC to see the plays that Tom Murray and his students put on today. Still enjoy coming to events like this, and just very glad that I'm able to support CBC. CBC has been very strong. It's been a great school. I have fond memories of my time here. It's a great school. It's been in the community for over 160 years. I feel that as an alumnus, it was part of my responsibility and all of us to continue to make sure that CBC is a part of the community for another 160 years, to make sure that that the school remains here and vibrant for all of us and for all the future students and future cadets that are part of CBC. So thank you. I'm truly honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So thank you, and thank you for listening.
This is Austin off to my right here, being our photographer for the evening. Thank you, Austin. Austin is a freshman, right? All dressed out in his CBC stuff. This is Spirit Week, so tomorrow they get to wear all kinds of CBC stuff, and it's kind of like dressed down, you know, whatever. They don't need to shave. The next inductee is from the class of 1984, and this is Mark Fisher. Get to follow the example of Chris. Starting out at Marco Sale, which is actually at the time owned by a CBC alumnus. He works in power transmission and material handling industry. I don't understand all that, but whatever. But that, for the last 20 years, has been his career. I'm happy to introduce to you his two sons, Alex and Brendan, who actually drove in today and surprised Dad all the way from Mobile, Alabama. Stand up, guys. Two graduates of CBC. I know a couple of his brothers are here. I know that a very special person in your family is your wife, who happens to be in my office and a great frontor for the CBC community, does an incredible amount of work. I just ran the golf tournament as tournament director. I'd like to have Michelle Fisher please stand. You know, you see that big CBC sign out there, the one on the hill, that's white and all that? He's in charge of that, basically. I know some graduates put it in. The Jost family, you probably know Tom Dunn, put it in as well, and Bob Leonard, who's an honorary alum, helped out as well. But he basically maintains it with Joe back there, with all the weeds and whatever else that are out there. It looks presentable. It really has lights on it, but unfortunately, the city of Town and Country won't let us turn them on, because in their opinion, that's two signs, and we're not allowed two signs. Who all went to visitation? Oh, good. Because I'm going to say they have two signs and they're in Town and Country. The CBC can have two signs for some reason. But back to our buddy here, Mark. You can see it here. This year, the CBC is always around attending, cheering, opportunity to form great relationships. And you know what? I forgot, Bill, you're a graduate as well. It's cousin there as well. And some of these friendships he's talking about continue even to today. If you read the rest of his bio, it's not about him at all. You know what you wrote about? You wrote about the two graduates over there, about their soccer career and Terry Mickler, et cetera, et cetera. So, very good heart. And then he takes all the attention off himself and gives it to Brendan and Alex, if you read his bio. So, he's basically saying he's very thankful for the excellent education, while making lasting relationships. And we're certainly very proud of the two young men there who are his sons, and great representatives of our alumni as well. So, Mark, you can't talk as long as Chris, but you're welcome to come forward.
Good evening. Thank you so much. First, I would like to extend congratulations to my fellow honorees on this year's Hall of Fame. I know you feel just I did. It's an honor, and I'm truly grateful. And as Michael Jordan mentioned, what do you say, Glenn? I like to mention that I'm very proud of the CBC legacy that I'm part of. And I wanted to mention my family. It all started with my uncle, Bill Buddy. And Bill Buddy, my cousin, is here tonight. It started in 1950, which followed then by my uncle, Dennis Buddy, in 57, and then my own brothers in 76, John, Jimmy was 1980, and then Bill in 92. And as I mentioned, my cousin Bill Buddy in 87. And most recently, my two sons, Alex in 2013 and Brendan in 2015. I really need to thank my family tonight for being here, for all the support. It was a huge surprise. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, my son showed up at my door when I was in the office in my basement. They drove 10 hours leaving yesterday from Mobile. They do need to leave tomorrow because there's a party tomorrow night. And then also another surprise, some graduates from 1984, Jim Oates, Ken Heights, and Glenn Beck. Grade school friends from St. Clemens Grade School, excuse me. I didn't know that they were going to be here, so thank you so much. And certainly a special thank you to my wife, Michelle. As Michael Jordan mentioned, she gives so much to CBC. She may have graduated from Port Yesu Academy, but I know she loves CBC more. I do really wanted to speak about something really profound tonight, but I really couldn't think of much. Not because there wasn't anything, but my 4 years at CBC was awesome. There was just too many things to choose from to really pick one item. But I had so many great relationships, just like the guys here tonight. There's still so many dear friends. But I would like to share one thing. It was just a couple days into my freshman year, I figured out who Leo Landgraf was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He put the fear of God into everyone, didn't he? And honestly, I never had a conversation with Mr. Landgraf. But he, the administration, the teachers, they instilled respect and discipline. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Being a CBC alum has been great. I love being a CBC kid. Attending my son's soccer games, wrestling matches, award ceremonies, father and son banquets are certainly one of my favorite events. But nothing is better than watching my sons graduate and walk across the stage. CBC made my sons remarkable young men. This has been a very, very humbling experience for me. It's been a true privilege and an honor. And I really, my last statement, I actually need some help from everyone here. And I know everyone knows these words. We've already said them tonight. I actually say them to myself just about every single day, and I have for years. But I've never have said it to so many people. If you could assist me. St. John Baptist de La Salle.
Pray for us.
Live Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Our next honoree is Stephen Cook, and he is from the class of 1983. We're happy to have Sheila, his wife here as well, from Marathon. Yeah, at one point he was in the Keys, now he's in Marathon in Florida. That is. Also, you can see the table over here. By the way, the first rows of tables, you see these beautiful flowers and all that. Linda and other people from CBC, Perry, Kathy, etc. helped us put up. You guys in the back, you get the smaller one. This. Obviously, you can see these are for the honorees here as such. So we do appreciate all the nicety for such all these the ladies give to us. But he also, Stephen was, as you can tell with Tom and Ed over here, they were very active in series players, theaters. He actually got into business of theater productions, lighting, sound, etc. until he moved to the Keys the first time. Loved wrestling, track, chorus, and as he was more and more involved in CBC and part of the series player, his grades, he says, accordingly went up because of that. He's a gentleman that you can meet in here, very involved in mission trips, Panama, Managua, Nicaragua. He's very, Jim, you mentioned the Coast Guard. He's very active in the Coast Guard. You can see a lot of activity that he has here. Natural resources. He has begun the Moral Fund for 5 of the U.S. Coast Guard newest Centennial class cutters there. Favorite teachers? Obviously, Murray. Mr. Murray not only was an important teacher in my days at CBC, he sent me down the path of the theater, and we have been friends and brothers all these years. He has helped me to help my brothers at CBC. And in his own words, these men, these teachers, and my brothers helped me to find my own direction and desire to bring others along. So I welcome to the podium Stephen Cook.
Well, as you can tell from that bio description, I was always in the back of the theater in black. I never enjoyed standing in front. But as I look around, it seems as though I don't really know a lot of the faces that are here, but I realize that all of you, you know who I mean, are brothers. We're brothers forever. Right on. CBC, when I transferred in as a sophomore, I was not probably the greatest student. And like Michael said, I became, due to the staff and the faculty here, they turned me into the man I've become. And that is a man that tries to help others and tries to do what St. John Baptist de La Salle did so many years ago in France. You know, bringing up poor children and trying to give them an education. And I have several people here in my group that do that very thing. I have our son Franco, who has his own mission in Kenya, and Shane, a very good friend of mine who got me started going in mission trips. And so we've been able to go on more. All of my family here that supported me through all of our missions and all of our giving. It seems like we don't really do enough. But this place its beginning. With all of you guys is what keeps us moving forward. That's about all I have tonight.
The next inductee just got back from China, and unfortunately he was called to negotiations in Delaware, John Stites. So John cannot be here with us. He's very, very disappointed. He's actually coming in November for us to give him his award. So a few things about him. Chemical engineering, MBA, Stanford. Last 20 years he's been president of 3 different companies. He is president and CEO of one right now. While here, he was involved in student council. He was a 3-sport letterman: football, basketball, and track. Member of the National Honor Society, and also wrote for the Turret. Right? His dad is a graduate, Ray. His brothers Ray, Jim, and Tom, 69, 70, and 79, are all graduates as well. He lives in the New York area now, and in his own words, CBC instilled and reinforced some very important principles in my life, including integrity, toughness, loyalty, and never given up attitude. So, John Stites from the class of 76. Next individual from the class of 67 is Dan Gaffney. I think a lot of you people know what I do for a living around here. As president, whatever, I don't usually use that title, but president of a lot of institutions, basically runs the organization. But we have a wonderful staff here that runs the day-to-day. Tim, Jerry's in the back, Jimmy, a lot of people run the day-to-day. So therefore, I'm the guy that goes out and I call and I ask for wallets and I basically ask for money. So you usually get it when somebody, these gentlemen here, when I call, they go, uh-oh, what's up? I had a guy last year, he didn't return my call after 3 tries. And when we finally got together, he just started crying. But in this particular case, regarding Dan, he didn't even tell his own family about it. Luckily, every year he comes to the golf tournament, and he had his nephew over here, Barry, and somebody congratulates him, and Barry said, what was that all about? Obviously, the family did find out. That family is here present, so a modest individual, probably a characteristic of a lot of individuals up here. In 1981, he co-founded with Barry over there, senior, Production Products Manufacturing and Sales Company. They have a number of awards that you can read about in here: Small Business Administration, one from the nation, defense contractors, etc. Do wonderful work. He's also, while he was here, won the state championship for all 3 years. In those days in soccer, they really didn't have the formal state championship that we have now. Same thing with football back in those days as well. Dan, along with fellow graduate Rick Bendon. Where's Rick? He was here earlier. You're not home, you're sitting over there. I see. Have you ever heard of Scott Gallagher? These guys founded Scott Gallagher, the organization that it is today. Dan worked in that program for a long, long time. Became one of the top youth soccer programs in the nation. Dan's teams have won national championships at the under 16 and under 19 age as well as their coach. A lot of family here. He has 3 nephews who graduated. Barry is here now. He was 88. Cam, who is Barry's son, can't be here because he goes to WashU, second year, and he's probably in his room studying calculus or something like that. Who knows? Luckily, we have Drake. There's Drake over there. Wade Drake is in the class of, 2019, huh? And then also a nephew, Brendan Wiggett, who graduated here. He's in Missouri. Is Brendan here? No, Brendan's not here. But very much part of of CBC. So I think Pat and Amy, right? Are here, Barry Senior as well. Yeah. Good to have you all. Favorite memories? Something about St. Mel. Does everybody know what St. Mel is? Some people do. 58, Joel Matino, you know what it is. St. Mel that he refers to in here is a Christian Brother LaSallian school in Chicago. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore, but he talks about it here, about trips to Chicago and St. Mel, so you have it in perspective. He remembers graduation. He graduated as first sergeant. He talks about Bob Horgan. If you remember Bob Horgan, a tough guy, but he basically said with Bob Horgan, simply participating wasn't enough. You had to go the extra mile. In his own words, a dedicated faculty, staff, coaches, and alumni were always a reminder that you were in a special institution. A CBC diploma afforded me opportunities and provided the life skills to take advantage of those opportunities. So the quiet Dan Gaffney, if you would please come forward.
Don't be alarmed, this is a really big friend. Look at my readings on it. I'd like to thank Jordan and the nominating committee for this honor to be into the Hall of Fame. I'd like to also thank Joe Gunn for providing this wonderful evening tonight. And I'd also congratulate all the fellow inductees that are being honored into the Hall of Fame tonight. What makes it a special occasion, especially for me, is that, like Michael Jordan said, to have my family here, my brother-in-law, my sister, my brother-in-law's my partner in business, and to have my wonderful nieces, nephews, and great to attend tonight. It's really fantastic. At CBC, I made a lot of lifelong friends who are here tonight. The Howe brothers, Rick Binbin, Fran Costello, and the late Mike Costello. And it's really fantastic to have these guys come here tonight and on the Thursday night take the time to come in here and share this award with me. I really do appreciate it. It means an awful lot to me to have family and friends here tonight. CBC is like I said, is a really a special place. There's a lot of great high schools here in the St. Louis area, both private and public schools. They're fantastic schools, but CBC is, in my opinion, a little bit different. As I said earlier, it goes back to the early days of the Christian brothers who arrived here approximately 165 years ago. And around the state, in other parts of the country, CBC is well recognized and it's well admired for not only its athletics, but the students that it produced and as far as faculty as well. So I'm really pleased and honored to be part of this program. And that really enforces, you know, what my belief that I'm truly blessed to have these people, to have my family, to have my friends here tonight in support of this award. I've always been proud to be called alumnus of CBC. And everywhere I go around CBC, around the community, there's always alumnus around, alumni around that we always have time to spend and talk about our times at CBC. In fact, last night I was just at a reunion, 50-year reunion of St. William that won the Junior Cup. And we had about 8 CBC alumni there, and it turned into a mini reunion. So they're always around, they're always there, and I play golf up at Norwood Hills. Chaminade people say, well, there's way too many of you CBC folks up here. And we were up there with a couple of alumni, Terry Knox, Bob McCool. There was a young gentleman there, and he was hitting balls, and he stopped and said, well, listen to you guys talk. I'd like to introduce you to my son. He's an 84 graduate of CBC. The Chaminade gentleman just looked, rolled his eyes, and said, when is it going to end?
There we go.
Last time, Jordan, it's going to be a long time. So I'd like to, on behalf of the alumni that I meet, that are here tonight, that I meet all over the St. Louis area, on their behalf, and Just for me as a person, I represent them all going into the Hall of Fame. I share the great experiences that I had, the great times that I had at CBC, and the great relationships that I have been forged at CBC. You know, on behalf of my family, on behalf of all of the alumni, I humbly accept this inductee into the Hall of Fame. It's something I would cherish for the rest of my life. Thank you very much.
Our next honoree is Tom Maher from the class of '58. If you have a moment to read his bio in there, you certainly can't come away without realizing that he has a wonderful sense of humor. Molly's here, right? And then, did Maureen make it? Maureen, his sister. Welcome, both of you. Maureen has two of the boys that went to CBC as well. That's Tom's sister. So we welcome you. Let's see. I'm going to read some of these things because it's typical Tom, and like I say, a sense of humor. After CBC went to SLU, and after 3 years, SLU basically advised him it's no longer needed, that they no longer needed his tuition to keep it afloat. Then he went away for a while, came back, and then they said, you should save your money and go invest in Florida real estate, which he didn't do. He basically, a candy butcher, it says. I don't even know if the candy butcher actually exists. He worked at Greenbrier Country Club, is what he's telling me. I think he worked at the concession stand or whatever. He sold candy, and I'll let him tell you the rest of it. He worked for American Can. He owned Wheels West, which was a bicycle shop that he had from '73 to 2003. Then he's talking about you raced in a cruiser class, BMX. He's devoting 2 broken collarbones in his relentless pursuit of a perpetual last place. But he had fun. Tom is the guy that keeps the glue, is the glue that keeps the 58 class together. He's always sending out emails, and now Joe and I are recipients of it, and it blows my computer up every time he sends it with all the pictures and whatever else. He went to the Missouri National Guard, and as he puts it, he had basic training at Fort Lost in the Woods.
Yeah.
I guess that's Fort Leonard Wood? Okay, talk about his sister. He's also talking about his favorite teachers, and one was Brother J. Michael. He's a corporal punishment geometry protractor. Brother Basco, he had the half-inch thick glasses. And then Brother Anselm, if you knew the brothers, there was Big Ants and there was Little Ants. Big Ants was here and had an influence on Tom during the mid-50s and so. You cannot come to a home and oftentimes in a way football or basketball game without seeing this gentleman present there rooting on for the cadets. He has a personal relationship with a couple of the athletes as well, just from his support and presence to them. In his own words, many of us do not realize until later in life how so much of CBC, whether the school's history or its teachers or its social life, has remained with us, even in subtle ways. As I said, he is the glue that keeps the group together. They have lunch once a month, I guess, isn't it? That he is the master of, and he actually, when he is inducted into the Hall of Fame here, he actually is one of 8 from his class. So, Tom, please come forward and be inducted into the Purple Gold. Well, I'm going to call.
probably many times. When Michael Jordan called me about this, I was flabbergasted, of course. And then Joe Gunn called and said I should prepare a little speech. Oh my God. So I called out one of my best buddies, Jack, and we talked about a couple of topics. And then I thought I'd run by some of the other lunch people. And they said, you know, Tom, we never had a guy in our class named Jack Daniels. Now my sister-in-law, too many memories. My daughter-in-law, who was sitting there muttering to herself, he's too cheap to buy Jack Daniels. He goes to Milwaukee's Best, 24 cans for $10. The first honor I've ever received in my life, actually the best, was the birth of my 3 daughters. Maggie Michaelini, Molly Megan, Monica Mason. And when you combine that with our last name of Maher, you can't say that fast 3 times. And just like for all of us who are parents, the song that Billy Bigelow sang in Carousel pretty much says it all. I'm not going to sing. And number 2 would be my parents, Catherine and Francis. Mom always wanted me to go to CBC, as her brother Maurice was in the class in 1940. My cousin Mike was in the class in 1955. And then we come to BS. Now, would you think if a sister, Marie, oh, the times we had growing up, I've forgiven her though. We get along pretty good. No, Marie. I can't hear you. I still can't. She's not. I'm going to catch you. I'm not close enough? Okay. Okay. And then we come to the class of 1958, the glorious class of 1958, of which I'm so privileged to be a member. After our 08 reunion, we started having lunches once a month. Way back then, many of us were just acquaintances because we grew up in disparate areas of St. Louis. But coming together at the lunches, we swapped stories, no politics, and just good memories. And we have become true comrades and share a camaraderie and a love. 58, get on your feet. That's an order. Now comes the tough part, what CBC means to me. As Michael mentioned about some of the favorite teachers that I wrote about in the pamphlet, I'll mention just 3. Brother Al, most beloved, I think, of our brothers, and he certainly loved our class. Kevin Aloysius Dolan, class of 1941, and also a member of the Hall of Fame. Mr. Ed Tynes, to whom we dedicated the Guidon, and then of the military, Sergeant Ben Heath, who really tried to instill some discipline in us. And in many cases, he succeeded. Right, Gary? Right, Danny? I can't hear you. Okay. And he actually wrote in my yearbook, and this is a quote, "How can a double ugly like you have such a cute, red-headed sister?" Truth. At our luncheons, Tim Dolan, our class chaplain, Deacon Tim Dolan, gives a brief homily, leads us in grace, and then leads us in 2 sentences that Mark stole my thunder tonight. I'm going to repeat it anyway. St. John Baptist de La Salle. Live Jesus in our hearts. Forever. I thank old CBC for what it gave to our class, and actually all of us. And I thank you students for what it does to our young men, our brothers for life.
Thanks, Tom. Our next honoree is Francis Frank Strobel from the class of 1948. I want to say that I met the family through your lovely bride, Ruth, seated right here in front of us, when we both served on the Fontan board together. Good to have you here. And good to see that you're on the road to recovery, young lady. We also have, who do we have? We have Mark, Susan, Matt, Mary, Kate, and Bob. Did I miss anybody? No, we got you all here in table number 2. So we're very, very glad to have you here as we honor your husband, your father-in-law, etc. You can see a lot of education that, of course, he has. Obviously, CBC, St. Louis University. He actually has an honorary doctorate from St. Louis University in 2006. And you'll see a few minutes here why he has that devotion to a number of the institutions. He's a first lieutenant. When you have to stand up and get different armed services, it was the United Air Force. He is a CPA, another numbers guy here, Chris. He was a chief financial officer and senior vice president. 38 years he worked there at Monsanto, and I hope you kept the stock. He also is the second salutatorian of his class. So second in his class, the class of 1948. You can tell where his heart truly is as you read about after CBC. Trustee emeritus at St. Louis University for, I don't know, what was it, 12 years or so. Sisters of Good Shepherd, St. Timothy du Bois, where he and Ruth are daily communicants. Advisory board of the Missouri province of I can't say it. Society of Jesus. It's so difficult because that's SJ, and as you probably know, that stands for the good Jesuits that we have here too. Well, 3 fine institutions. President of Catholic Charities, and lastly, National Board of Boys Hope, Girls Hope. So you can see where the man's heart is here. In his own words, he talks about his mom. He was thinking about going to the South Side, and he says, "Mom knows best." She loved the uniform, and it caught her eye, I believe. Probably envisioned you in that uniform as well. As many families, Mom and Dad sacrificed a lot to be able to have them come to CBC. The CBC gave you the education, the moral foundation, the discipline that, with God's grace and blessing of a loving family and a professional career. As he says, moms know best. So, Frank, if you come forward, please, as our next inductee into the Hall of Fame.
Michael Stewart took some of my thunder away, but I'm going to give you a few words that I put together here. I thank the CBC family for entering me into the Alumni Hall of Fame. I accept this reward also for my fellow classmates of 1948 because they've been very active in CBC activities over the last 68 years. That's hard to say, but it's been 68 years since we walked the Allen halls of CBC. My day started at CBC way back in 1944. As our good friend Michael said, my mom was impressed with the Christian Brothers and all they stood for. I think she also probably liked the uniform, and I know she liked the military discipline that we had at that time. I had planned to go to Southside High. I think Michael already mentioned that, the old St. Mary's, the new St. Mary's High School. But as Michael said, moms know best, and I thanked her many, many times since that time for overruling me as to where I really wanted to go to high school. My parents actually sacrificed much to send me to CBC. The cost of the tuition, the bus fare from South St. Louis out to Clayton Road, and the cost of the uniforms. I owe them much. While at CBC, it gave me the education and the moral background and the foundation and the personal discipline that a teenager needed back in those years. And upon graduation, CBC found for me a 4-year scholarship at St. Louis University. So I know CBC, I owe them an awful lot for a good beginning in life. I've been blessed by God all my life. I had great parents, I had the Christian brothers, I had the Jesuits, a wonderful and loving family, some of whom are with me here tonight, and a successful 38 careers at Monsanto Company, and I hope somehow Monsanto manages to stay in St. Louis because I think it's been a good contribution to the St. Louis area. Having been blessed by God all my life, I have given an awful lot back to some of the organizations that Michael had mentioned. And again, I thank Michael and all the family of CBC for this great award and putting me into the presence of an awful lot of folks that are in the Alumni Hall of Fame. I owe much success to their continuing, and I hope much success for their continuing mission to educate young men in the Christian tradition to help the world and also the United States of America. Thank you very much, Michael, again, and I appreciate all of you.
Southside Catholic that Frank was referring to was actually started by the Christian Brothers. And later the Marianists came and took it and over as such and called it St. Mary's. And to this day, as you know, it's St. Mary. Our next honoree is John O. Shields from the class of 1944. You know, we have a slide presentation going on back there, PowerPoint or whatever. Unfortunately, Jay sent this to me today, and Joe as well. We couldn't get up on the slideshow, even though we did try. This is actually a picture of John scoring the winning touchdown, I guess 1943, winning the game 7-6 against St. Louis United. And I believe in meeting with him a number of times, he carries this in his pocket to show off often to the graduates and friends from down the street, as we refer to it. So, we welcome the family. We have Jay and Chip, Madonna, and Maria Baccioni Shields, whose brother went to CBC as well. Let's see, CBC in 44, St. Louis University, and on to the military. He is presently the chairman of the board of Schaefer Manufacturing. Schaefer is actually one of the oldest privately held companies in St. Louis. Every time they celebrate an anniversary, John calls and he says, "Can you get the band to come down, you know?" The mayor comes, all these dignitaries, and we have the CBC cadets playing for him as well. So we're always proud to do that. Brothers Tom and Gwen, both track individuals. I can still remember in my own memory here a picture of, this is unfortunately after Tom passed away, Tom and Mary gave us some money to build the track at the old Clayton Road. I can still in my mind see Ray Stites, who was John's Father, Coach Clem and Babe Murphy sitting there for the dedication. And actually, I think we have it in our archives up there, the picture. The track, as I said, was named for Tom, and I told John at the dinner that we had here that we're going to redo the track. We have a nice gift from a graduate of 1950, his father, Richard Whiter. We're going to do that. We have a contract all done. It's going to start May or June, and I promised John that what we would do is somewhere on the plaque that says Father Whiter track, there'll also be a mention of Tom, your brother as well, Shield. Very well deserved. Tom, you've got a sense of humor, kind of like yours here. He's talking about Mr. Clem. We actually had Clem Field. A lot of you people know about that. But he said the trouble with you, Shields, is you run too long in the same place. And also John said that after being the third son as such, the genes, in my case, just ran out of gas. I told you about the 43. Actually, Jay, you tell me this is from the Star's Time. I guess that was the Post-Dispatch, the Globe Democrat at the time. Star Time. You remember that? Oh, we're going way back. I see some head shaking. I have no idea. I've been here since 67, and I never did hear that before. But the Star Time, this actually, when he scored this touchdown, he's considered a journeyman halfback, and Clem featured him as a secret, naked, reverse trick play. And he scored, as I said, the winning touchdown. So our next honoree, John O. Shields, from the class of 1950.
I found out that when I hit my 91st year, I lost another inch. I used to be 9'8", now I've shrunk to 9'7". So, Father, thanks, Brother Michael, thanks for giving my talk for me. You used all my material. But I come from a long family of sprinters and runners. Gwen was in class of 1941, and he was a 440 man. And my brother Tom was class of 36, and he was a sprinter. He still holds the prep record in the old prep league. It's never been broken. By 9.8 seconds for the 100-yard dash. And one of his claims to fame was after the famous 1936 Olympics, Jesse Owens won 5 gold medals, and he came to St. Louis in 36. And Tom ran a race against him and came within 6 inches of tying Jesse Owens. He was that good. My father was also a brother's boy in 1898, and he was a distance runner. So we come from a long line of runners, but like he mentioned, by the time they got to me, Clem was all excited at first. He thought, oh boy, another Shields. Well, the genes got awfully low, and that's true. He said, the trouble with you, Shields, is you just run too long in the same place. But he did fix it up for me because he had us all practice a trick play. It was a naked reverse, and he featured me. And so when we came across St. Louis U High in 43, We didn't use this play all year long. It was all held in secret, and I was the beneficiary of it. So Tom O'Toole did the key block. He was also my mentor here, and so I scored the winning touchdown. And the next day, there was a big picture of me in the St. Louis Star-Times. And at that time, the Globe was the morning paper, the Star-Times and the Post-Dispatch were the afternoon paper. So anyway, it was a big thrill, and I never let my friends at St. Louis UI forget it. I made thousands of pictures of this. And I used to go to the football game like they're having tomorrow night, and I would hand it out to all the St. Louis UI guys. I'm a little more mature now, and I don't do that. So many, many thanks to all of you, and thanks to you, Michael.
What are we going to do tomorrow night on William J. Clem Field? Beach Loop!
I do want to once again congratulate our inductees. Thank you, families, for being here for this special occasion. God bless you. Drive safely. St. John Baptist, South. Live Jesus in our hearts. Forever. Thank you.